Hey everyone, today I'm going to be walking you through my Ableton Keys template. Okay, so real quick before we actually dive into the template, I am running this on Ableton version 11.3.42, so make sure you have that version or a newer version of Ableton. If you have something older, this template won't load. This template will work inside of Ableton Standard and Suite versions of Ableton, so that's good. So a great thing about this template is you don't need Omnisphere, Keyscape, or Contact to run any of these sounds. Everything was built using Ableton's native sampler and simpler instrument, which means you don't need to download any of these big third-party plugins to run any of these sounds. All you need is Ableton and this template and everything will just work. There is one third-party plugin that I did use on some of the synth sounds. It's free though, and I'll leave a link below for you to download that, but it's the Tall Chorus plugin. So it's pretty common and I think a lot of people already have that plugin, but that is the only third-party plugin that's in this template that I'm using. And you don't even really need it to run the template, but if you want kind of the full experience, I'd recommend downloading that one. So there's two versions of this template available. There's a full version, which I'm gonna go over today. It's got all of these sounds and effects and drones kind of already inside of the template ready to go. There's a blank version that has no sounds, but it's got the template, like the structure, ready for you to load your own sounds inside of it. Also, if you have your own template and you just kind of like the sounds that were demoed in this video, all the sounds are available as separate downloads as well. So yeah, if you want to get any of this stuff, it's all linked below. Also, this video is probably going to be fairly long because it's a full walkthrough of this template, so I'm going to try my best to leave chapter markers in the video timeline. So if you need to hop around or come back later to revisit a certain section in the video, there should be chapters in this video, so it should be really easy to navigate through the video. Also, if you want to hear every single sound that's available in this template in detail, I have a separate sounds demo video that's already up. If you want to listen to that, I'm not going to be able to go over every single one of these sounds in this video because this would be a mega long video. So if you want to hear all these sounds with zero talking, check out the sounds demo video, also linked below. Okay, final boring thing that I'll mention is what am I running this on? So I'm running this on a MacBook Pro, 2021 M1 Max, 64 gigs of RAM, My Ableton settings are usually, let me check. Yeah, I usually run everything at like 48K. I usually land around 256 for my buffer size, and that usually seems to work for me. Okay, with that all out of the way, let's jump into the template. Okay, starting from left to right, we have first this MIDI channel. This is where your keyboard is gonna hit the template first. So you'll make sure to go here and check your keyboard. You'll start to see MIDI coming through. And if I turn up my fader, you'll see that there's audio as well. Starting with the first device that's in this MIDI channel, we have this velocity device. Basically, I have this here. You can turn the drive knob to the left or to the right, and it changes the velocity curve of your whole key bed. This is great, like, let's say you're playing somewhere and you're playing on a keyboard that you're not used to, and it kind of feels a little bit off, the sensitivity is not what you're used to. You can change this knob a little bit and get it right to like where you feel more comfortable. And again, this changes globally to all your instrument tracks. You have this octave down, octave up. If you turn them on with the little yellow circle there, it basically just shifts your whole key bed up an octave or down an octave, depending which one you turn on. And then this last one is a transposing device. Yeah, so the way the transposing works, you're not gonna mess with it down here. These MIDI clips that are labeled in semitone increments is what makes the transposing happen. So if you have it set to 0, it'll be normal, so no transposing happening. And then if you go +1, it'll change your transposing by up 1 semitone, and so on. And I'll show you how to use that in kind of a set list format in a little bit. You can kind of see it already up there in the template. Okay, so let's move over to the instrument tracks. So we've got keys A and B, we've got pads, synths, and aux, and then drone pads. We'll get to drone pads a little bit later. Basically, keys A and keys B, I usually leave that for like pianos, Rhodes, EPs, stuff like that. You can see that I've got like a grand piano here, an upright, a soft piano, and a Rhodes. If you wanted to add your own instrument in here, you would activate these clips. So right click, click activate clip, then that enables the clip and you can hit that. It'll fire patch 5 and you would just drop your instrument in this section here. I would also rename these clips so that it kind of keeps everything organized. So for an example, piano 2, and then also change it to here. So now when you go to Rhodes, it goes to Rhodes, and then piano 2 is on piano 2. But for now, I will keep it deactivated. And there's a ton of slots in each instrument track for you to load your own sound. So there's like 50 available, it's crazy. If you wanted to activate all these clips like at a time without having to go one by one, you would just highlight all of them and then hit 0 as the shortcut, or you can also right click and click activate clip. But yeah, everything is very expandable in this template. You're not like locked into anything. It's made intentionally for this to kind of grow with you. I know everybody's got their own setups and own sounds and own everything, so this template is designed to adapt to you. So yeah, a great thing about this workflow is when you're on a sound and then you change over to the next sound, it doesn't cut out your previous sound abruptly. I'll show you what that sounds like. So here I'm on the grand piano, and I'll switch over to the upright. So you can hear that it still sustains the previous piano. So here I am on the upright piano, soft piano. And then back to grand piano. Yeah, the seamless patch switching clip thing is so great. So let me talk about this like set list view that's up here. Down here, this is like your master patch bank clips area. And then up here, I've just kind of copied these clips up to create like patch changes on a per song basis. So the way Ableton works, it kind of works in scenes at least in this view. So if you hit enter on song 1, it fires all these clips in the same row. And then if you go to song 2, same thing. So if you want patch changes to happen on each song, this is a great way to do that. You can also copy and paste your transposing clips up if you want to transpose on a certain song and maybe one song you don't need that. Same thing with these drone clips. You can paste them up so that your transitions happen seamlessly when you hit the next song. So as you're building your setlist patch changes, you want to copy and paste them up. You don't want to move the clips, because if you start moving things up, then things start to get lost and moved around, and then now you don't have your master patch clips in an organized way anymore. You start to like lose them. So definitely always copy and paste them up. All right, let's talk about these effects. So starting with keys A. Keys A and keys B have a special device that's in front of the instruments. It has a velocity curve and then an octaves on and off. I can tweak the velocity. The octaves on and off is pretty easy to explain. It just adds octaves. Yeah, so keys A and keys B are the only ones that have that extra velocity and octaves device, because I tend to use that on mainly pianos. Then after that, you have your patch bank area. This is where all your patches live, like I went over with the patch clips. After that, you have a filter device. You can choose the slope. If you have it to the left, it's a 12 dB slope, and if you have it all the way to the right, it's a 24 dB slope. Yeah, next you have this like delay rack. So it's got a dotted eighth. And then it's got a quarter note. You have this reverb rack that has a short reverb. And then the long reverb. And then you've got a shimmer rack. The next effects is this sequence and pump rack. This one I mainly use on synths and pads. It adds basically like a side chaining, ARP kind of effect. Let me show you what that sounds like. So we'll turn up the sequence. Then we can turn up the pump. And yeah, so this effects chain layout is the same on basically every instrument track, but they're all independent from one another. So they're all their own kind of effect, but they're the same kind of layout structure, which makes things really easy to use. Okay, so let me quickly go over what's inside of the aux instrument that's different from the other ones. There is a range device, and you can turn this off or on. Basically, this just changes where your sounds will work on the keyboard range. So changing this knob will basically just change the lowest note that the sounds will work on, and then from that point up, that's where the range will be set for all the instruments in this chain. Another way to do this, if you don't want to globally set all of these sounds to this exact note range, you can turn this off, and then you can go to key, and then doing it this way, you can change each patch to work at a certain range if you want to do it that way. That's a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more detailed, but a really great way too. Let's talk about the drone pads. So I'm going to play D high and turn up the volume. So you've got this volume knob. You have a preset select, which lets you go through all the presets, which there's 30 drone presets. And there's more user empty slots if you want to add your own. There's a fade time knob, which basically like changes the duration of the transition when you go from one key to the next key. You have a filter, which works just like a filter. You have this reverb wet, which is a really nice airy kind of reverb that cuts out some of that like low mid kind of thing and makes it just more bright a little airy and reverby. There's this high duck. This is really nice to use because it will just kind of duck some of the highs instead of cutting them. And yeah, basically the way the preset select knob works is you just kind of go to whatever sound you want and then refire the drone, and it will start playing the new patch that way, and it will fade out the previous one. Yeah, so with drone pads, these clips basically fire the key that you want. And there's two versions of that key. There's the higher octave and the lower octave. I found that sometimes, depending on the drone sound, it sounds better in a lower octave, and sometimes it sounds better in a higher octave. And sometimes that changes on the moment or the song. So having that option is really nice. So you can choose, key of D in the higher octave or key of D in the lower octave. Super flexible. And yeah, I've copied and pasted these drone clips up to my set list. So that when I go from song 1 to song 2, it makes that drone key change for me. So like, here's song 1, and then I'm gonna go to song 2. Now I'm in a new key. It also changed the preset automatically. Basically, the way to do that automation, in the clip edit view of the clip itself, you wanna just go into the envelope tab, hit drone pads, and make sure you're at the top drone pads thing, not like any of these. You wanna make sure you're on drone pads, the singular one. Go to the second envelope option here and make sure you're on preset select, and then just like draw in an automation on whatever preset you want. So right here I drew in 3, so when that clip fires, it'll choose preset 3. So like when I hit that clip, you'll see the preset changes to 3, and then it also changes the key to whatever the clip was. Okay, so let's talk about audio routing. So all your instrument tracks and drone pads kind of go through these buses that I've called keys group, pads group, synths group, aux group, and drone group. All these sounds go into these buses, and basically doing it this way lets you kind of control your sounds a little bit more globally, instead of like, if your pads were feeling a little muddy, you don't have to tweak every single sound. You could just like make that EQ change to that whole bus. Then after it hits these groups, it goes to your 1 and 2 bus and 3 and 4 bus. These last 2 channels is basically where all your sound goes to your audio interface and then goes to like, front of house or whatever. I have keys group going to the 1 and 2 bus, and then pads, synths, aux, and drone, basically everything else goes to 3 and 4. That's how I typically run things, and I know that's how a lot of people will run things. And yeah, when you have your audio interface connected to your computer, you would go here to this little drop-down menu and just make sure you have output 1 and 2 selected for 1 and 2 bus, and then 3 and 4 selected for 3 and 4 bus. And yeah, your setup might be totally different. You might not have 4 lines available for all your sounds. That's totally okay. You would just, select both of the output buses and set them, to 1 stereo line or 1 line. That's totally fine. Like whatever your setup is, you can change that there. Here's another scenario that you might run into, maybe, if you're loading the template up and then you're playing, but nothing's kind of happening. It might be because you don't have your tracks armed. Basically from MIDI all the way to aux B, you want to kind of have all these tracks armed with the red square there. Yeah, just make sure those are always armed and you'll be good to go. Okay, here's one last tip. So I've seen a lot of people where they're mapping faders. Like for an example, on keys A, I've got this fader mapped, and when I move it all the way up, it goes to plus 6 dB instead of 0. This is gonna end up clipping your audio, and that's not great. You want all your faders to always hit 0 when you move them all the way up. But I've seen a ton of people that they'll put like tape blockers on their faders so it won't go past a certain amount. There's a way easier way to do this. Go into MIDI mapping mode in Ableton, click this side arrow here, and then click the area that you want to fix or edit, which is that fader. And then right here, you'll see this maximum value, and just change 6 to 0. and now you can get out of this MIDI mapping mode, and now when you move that fader all the way up, it hits 0. So super great tip. Do that to all your faders. But all right, I think that covers the template. Again, if you're interested in getting this template, the full version, the blank version, or just the sounds that you heard in this video, everything's available in the link below. And yeah, definitely check out the sound demo video that I'll also link below if you want to hear every single one of these sounds in detail with no talking. And yeah, thanks again so much for watching.